Bob Donovan says car thefts in Milwaukee have become an epidemic, so he's laying out his plan to deal with it, which includes using more technology. That means about 70% of city voters might decide to sit this one out. That happened last year in 2022. Then the second step is a consecutive session of the legislature needs to pass it again. That happened in Madison this week. And then after both of those steps, it goes to the final say. That's your vote on a referendum whether to change the Wisconsin Constitution. Back in August, look at that, a 15-point lead for Mandela Barnes amongst the independent voters, but that was after his primary where his Democratic opponents didn't attack him. Now Republican Johnson is winning that important group. You can really get a sense for what this day was supposed to be before the terror. You can see families with children coming out to enjoy. Going through these records, we found out where the money was spent and who approved it. Residents got so upset with people speeding down the road. Look what they did.
We're upside down right now? Yeah. How many G's do we do? 7.4, wow.
Look at this, a tree covering a car. It'll apply over here in Milwaukee, but not over where the camera is in Wauwatosa. Absentee ballots are already in the mail. Where would you set restrictions? Would you support any restrictions on abortion? On that referendum, where would you stand right now as far as 10 weeks, 15 weeks? And do you believe that this election was stolen? Your original budget proposal would have increased taxes by, they say, $1 billion. Is that premature based on the fact that this is still an active investigation? Yeah, we're talking about possible lead in the soil, lead in paint, and lead in pipes. Now, Milwaukee's health commissioner says that one Bayview family's case was not handled appropriately.
She was not aboard Air Force One, Jason, because it's not the president who was on the plane. Do you know what they called that one today? That plane?
Yeah, that plane in particular that landed at Mitchell is called Executive One Foxtrot. Boom. When the president is on, then that particular plane becomes, as you know, Air Force One.
I don't even know why I tried to stump you. I knew you would do that.
And all of a sudden, I hear tires squealing, going down.
Marquise Edwards says it happened close to his home.
All of a sudden, I saw them drive up onto the sidewalk. I was like in front of my own house. Like, that makes me nervous. It's because, you know, I've got a dog. I've got brothers, you know.
On the same street, Kyler Berg is a new father.
Reckless driving has been kind of crippling our city.
This past fall, the city installed this.
As you can see with this car pulling up, it's been helping quite a bit, slowing and deterring traffic as people travel on through.
In another attempt to stop reckless driving, the Common Council Public Safety Committee backs legislation targeting repeat offenders.
They literally have no respect for your life, none whatsoever.
Milwaukee police data show in the past year they pulled over 2 people 12 times, one person 10 times, and the list goes on for things like speeding and driving without a license. The committee sends a proposal to the full Common Council. It would declare repeat offenders a nuisance, and then the city could go to court to seize their cars.
That's a lot of people who take those tickets, look at them, throw them in the backseat of the car. Thanks very much, and they drive off.
While Edwards, walking his dog Bentley, has seen one thing help.
But then once these got installed, you know, slowly but surely, I saw people, you know, slowing down. Now, last year, the city set up 110 of these speed humps. This year, they have requests for 180 of them. Another thing the city's looking at is towing unregistered vehicles involved with reckless driving. For now, we're live in Sherman Park. JayCalvi, Fox 6 News. In the 27 years Michael Garrett's been driving, he says it's never cost this much to fill up his semi, $2,500 a week.
It's ridiculous. We're not making any money because we're putting it all into fuel, basically.
Prompting a race against time in Madison.
It's got to be a reality that it's the only option we have because we know someday we're going to run out of oil.
UW chemical engineering professor George Huber is trying to create the fuel of the future.
I'd rather pay a Wisconsin farmer to grow my fuels than send my money to the Middle East or to Russia or to some other country.
Huber has been working on alternative fuels for more than 20 years.
People said I was crazy.
But the U.S. Department of Energy now funds his research. That funding used to come from ExxonMobil, even the Department of Defense.
They were funding this research because they said, hey, if oil goes over $100 a barrel, how are we going to be able to fight a war?
This week, oil reached $123 a barrel. So in this lab, they're starting with catalysts, reacting with corn-derived ethanol. This product of the chemical reaction is called ether. The ethers from Dr. Huber's lab are then blended with normal diesel fuel, and they try different percentages to see how it performs when it powers this engine.
We do think it's going to be successful. The data that we have collected till now are really encouraging.
No change required for the trucks.
Our testing has proven that we do not expect anything bad to happen to the engine.
It could be better for the environment.
But the goal of the project is to see 50% reduction in CO2 emissions.
But the researchers can't put a number on what it will mean for diesel fuel prices.
Got to do experiments in the lab, and then we have to see, does it make sense from a business point of view?
Huber says he applied for a patent, but will it pay off for drivers?
If they could come up with some better ideas, I'm all for it.
It took 27 years of driving for Michael Garrett to see fuel prices this high. He hopes solutions arrive before another 27 go by. JayCalvi, Fox 6 News. The date which will live in infamy, December 7th, 1941. 50 Wisconsin service members died, their names etched in history at Kenosha's Pearl Harbor Memorial.
Because they both always wondered what happened to them, and let's get them back.
Elmer Dreyfel never came home. The graduate of Milwaukee's Rufus King High School, served as a Marine corporal. At 22, was stationed on the USS Oklahoma when Japanese torpedoes attacked. On Christmas Eve, his family was notified he was missing in action. Then in January 1942, the military pronounced him dead, but could not confirm his remains.
There was always that inkling of maybe he's still alive. Maybe somehow he got through it all. But we never really believed that.
From 1941 to 44, the Navy recovered remains of the crew, which were interred in Hawaii. Most were unidentified. Then in 2015, the unknown remains were exhumed again. And in 2020, a match, DNA solving the mystery.
It was exciting, and it was also kind of sad because our mom and our aunt aren't here to be with us when we really bury him where he was meant to be.
Meant to be, next to his parents, Hilda and Edwin, who both died in 1953. In June, after a nearly 80-year journey, Elmer's ID'd remains will come home to Milwaukee and find rest at Pilgrim's Rest Cemetery.
It'll be a closure that we're finally past, not knowing where he was. Although he was never lost. He was always in God's care.
December 7th later became the birthday of his niece, Karen Timmerman. Now she gets ready to offer her uncle a hero's welcome and final salute.